You're hearing it, you're seeing it. Fox News alert. As countless people across the country, and by the way, go out to mourn after the 9/11-like attacks that took place yesterday. They killed 12 and wounded 11. Those terrorists attacked a French newspaper office, as you know, because they didn't like the cartoonist inside. They didn't like the editor, because not only would they go after Christians, the Pope, they would also go after Muhammad, which the Muslims call the Prophet.
Just hours after those 12 people were assassinated, the Financial Times came out with an op-ed slamming the newspaper Charlie Hebdo, the publication at the heart of the attack, for, quote, just being stupid. And that's not the first time. When the paper was firebombed by terrorists back in 2011, Time magazine, in an op-ed, stated, quote, not only are Charlie Hebdo's Islamophobic antics futile and childish, but they also openly beg for the very violent responses from extremists.
So,
really?
Shouldn't a free press be allowed to publish what they want without being murdered by Muslim killers? Joining us right now, an editorial cartoonist known for his defense of free speech, Michael Ramirez. Michael, I think I know where you stand, but tell America where you stand on this.
Well, Brian, the world ought to be outraged. Frankly, this despicable act of cowardice by these terrorists is not just an attack on these cartoonists, it's an attack on freedom and liberty against all freedom-loving people around the world. And whether you agree with these cartoons or not is immaterial. You know, France has got a rich tradition of satire that goes back to Voltaire in the 1700s and Henri Daumier in the 1800s. This right to express your beliefs, this freedom of expression, is a universal right that all people around the world ought to have. And frankly, you shouldn't be killed for it.
Absolutely. Killed for a cartoon. A cartoon. And the terrorists said yesterday, we have avenged the prophet, referring to Muhammad. Clearly, they're Islamic extremists. They were angry that that particular magazine came out with the things that mocked Muhammad. You came out with a cartoon today that reflected what happened yesterday, didn't you? Yes.
You know, the pen is mightier than the sword, and frankly, these acts of barbarism, whether you agree with the cartoons or not, should not stand. Freedom must endure. And you know, they may have silenced a few pens, but they'll never extinguish the light of liberty. And I think that's the important point that all cartoonists ought to make, is that this expression that we have, the satire that we use, right, this freedom of expression is important in a self-governing society of free individuals. You have to have the power of information. Yeah, you can only have that power if people can communicate.
Absolutely.
And Michael, what about another cartoon you have, from behind, leading from behind?
Well, you know, that cartoon is sort of on this naive belief from the administration that disengaging from the world is going to make the world a safer place. The president came out and said that the world is safer. It really isn't, and that this war on terror is over. Obviously, from the events of yesterday, this war on terror still exists.
Remember, Jay Carney did say 2 years ago, he said, yeah, you can do that, the people of the same magazine, but it's just not wise to do that. Yeah. And remember, we condemned the producers of that video and blamed them for the attacks in Benghazi.
Michael, real quickly before you go, did you ever, in your wildest dreams, believe that a dozen people would be killed over a cartoon?
No, you know, cartoons are sort of, they're substantive messages wrapped in a humorous envelope to deliver a potent message. And, you know, people are emotionally engaged and invested in their political beliefs, so you're going to get hostility. But in a free, civilized world, you ought to be able to communicate without these threats of violence.
Indeed. All right. Michael Ramirez joining us today from Irvine, California. Sir, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.